That's dodgy. Jim, welcome back to normal time. John, Barry, Travis, Daniel, Andrew, hey Miles. Alright, I thought this was actually busted up, but it's not. It's just, for some reason the home button's all offset wrong. So we'll just have a look at that. Not sure why it drifted. It's massively off, in fact. No wonder it wasn't pressing. How depressing. Oh, I guess it's supposed to be stuck up on here, isn't it? No, it's not. No, it's supposed to be stuck down here. Wait a second. I can't work out whether this model is supposed to have the home... Yeah, I have a feeling it's... Yeah. I have a feeling I'm meant to mount that home button on the display itself. Hey Terry Taylor. Thinking of moving to Australia. Where's a good place to live and where people are nice? Tell you what, you move here, you find that place and let me know, will you? That'd be good of you. Thanks. Hey Blazing. Hey Ed. Nice really depends a lot on yourself, I think. Depends what you're looking for. So what I might consider to be nice people, you may consider to be jerks or arrogant SOBs. Yeah, it's a bit of a difficult thing to tell for someone else. Crap, we almost just wrecked it then. Well done, Paul, well done. Yeah, I suspect that's meant to be mounted up there, rather than just floating around on the ground there. And it looks like I've got a bunch of screws up here that are missing. That's fun. Again, I guess that I am responsible for such atrocities. It seems like my kind of thing. The question is, where am I going to find those screws? I don't know. I'll just have to find something that's similar. Something that feels like it goes into the thread and depth without too much drama. I'm going to guess this is pretty similar, so we should have some screws around. This is Daniel. Save the day for me. I was just about to buy a new hobby crafting knife set. What do I use? I don't actually have one. I'm sorry for that. I just sort of... Yeah, I bought a X-Acto number 11 combo and then bought 100 blades about 15 years ago. And that's it, I'm afraid. I wish I could give you more, but not this time. Hey Jason. You know you just want to use lots of Captain tape. Is that going to be a thing now? Is that going to be what we're going to say to each other now? So, some fine Captain tape there, sir. Okay, I'm happy with these screws. They're doing the job. They got the right pitch of thread and everything. These ones up this end, however, they look like they may be a little trickier. As for why this was removed, well, honestly, your guess is as good as mine. Hey, Christos. I'm gonna take it. It seems viable-ish. I'll take it for the win. Alright, so I now have to clearly redo this home button. We'll get these out of the way first, and then I can work on some MacBooks. I have been very busy redoing my workshop, And I will admit I'm actually fairly happy with how it's worked out. Okay, I don't know whether this is a forward flip or a back flip. I actually have to look at this under the microscope. I can't work out that one. Normally they're from the back go forward, but I don't feel comfortable doing that. Hey, Phil Pritchard, Tech for Stress. It is. No, I was right. It's just kind of gummed up a bit. Yeah, that is really gummed up. Okay. So apparently I did some rework in this, and I probably tested it and then forgot to clean it. That's very bad of me. Very naughty of me. This is probably like a year and a half ago, I would have said. No picture. Why is there no picture? Okay, give me a second, folks. Please stand by. Technical difficulties. Alright, technical difficulties have been resolved. We will now return you to your regular scheduled program. Brought to you by Morons and Dodgy Brothers. Now I'm heating this up so I can actually get this flex out without messing it up too much. There we go. Hey, Hamimo. Oh, Noosakat's here too. Everybody's turning up today, I see. Alright, that's going to be a bit tricky. And since I've already mounted the board back in, this is going to be fun. Okay, that's glue. I kind of just need to do a hot toothbrush. And drag out a lot of that flux physically. It's not exactly easy when when that keeps happening. By the way, anyone wondering, this is not going to be a customer's device. This is actually probably going to be my own iPad. Just something for me to try. I haven't ever used an iPad on a daily basis, but I thought I'd give it a whirl. Might make it easier for me to keep track of certain customer arrivals and departures. At least, if not for me, it can be something sitting up on the desk for Alita to see. Hey, Victor Yang, how are you today, good sir? Oh, Keith McDermott's here. Wow, everybody is turning up. Oh. Must be because it's Taco Tuesday. I just noticed this one's got a 3G option as well. Bonus. It is the older model. This doesn't have Touch ID, so I'm going to guess this is like iPhone 5-esque sort of era. So it won't have any of the more modern features, that's for sure. Okay, I see there are line pins there. How did I screw this up before? Must have been very talented for me to screw this up. That's that wouldn't take long, Jason. I'd go swimming out the strand. There's plenty of sharks out there. We do have a periodic um, swim out to a island that's just off the coast of Townsville, Magnetic Island. It's about a 7 kilometre swim. I obviously never do it because I can barely go 7 meters of swimming. But they have to have shark cages and things like that for the process. So it's actually a fair bit of a logistical nightmare to run that race. Well, I should say swim that race. And I'm just trimming off. There's old glue or something on this. Just need to get it off before I put the new improved glue on. Oh, Jason, seriously. I'd go over there periodically because I had a couple of friends over there myself. It wasn't exactly the cheapest place to go as a student because, you know, everything is quite a bit more expensive there. Jason, are they in the resorts or, you know, do they buy up the various holiday places or the shops or just bits of the land in general? The marina, car hire, your uncle is parks and wildlife ranger, you own the house, and the Grove, Nelly Bay. Holy damn. All those places and everything you say there I know about. That's kind of scary. Small world. Small world. Hey, Branches Creations. Oh, Savvy's here. Hundit. Holiday house, just a crappy kit home. Pfft. Yeah. On Magnetic Island, it doesn't matter if you've got a crappy kit home. It's still on Magnetic Island. I've sailed around Magnetic Island a couple of times in the past. Quite enjoy dropping into some of the quieter beaches on the backside of Magnetic Island, facing out to the ocean more. Still a bit scary though. Yeah, particularly like when you think, oh, you know what, I'll do some maintenance on the boat and just take a snorkel and goggles and a spatula and just scrape off some barnacles off the boat. And then you see murky things swimming around underneath and you're like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. The idiotic things you do when you're young. The idiotic things you do when you're older too. Like MacBook repairs. The grandfather was Jerry Wynn. Jerry Wynn Memorial Pool. Holy damn. Oh, we should catch up on the island. That is crazy. That is crazy. I'm trying to remember the name of the chap that I used to go to school with. He went to grammar, Townsville Grammar, and yeah, he'd catch the same bus I would, but he'd be dropped off at the marina in Townsville to catch the boat back. Withers, the Wither family, yeah. I don't know much about them. I guess when you're young like that, you really don't take a lot of notice of what other people do. I think at that time I was probably more interested in the fact that another one of the people I went to school with owned the Toy World in Townsville. That was, oh man, can't remember their last name now. That's pretty embarrassing. I still am in touch with them. Hey, Michael Tritz. Do I know the Maryland tree in Nelly Bay? That one I do not know, actually. That's it. Yep, Jason, that's correct. Yeah, the withers of the Moke High. Yeah. Hey, Daniel Finnick. Oh, and it was the Lewis family that owned Toy World in Townsville back then. And then Toys R Us bought them, but then they ended up opening another Toy World in a new shopping complex later. That was entertaining. Well, yeah, just goes to show you shouldn't be too presumptuous about what people do or don't know. And of course, we used to occasionally play golf over there on the sands. Ah, that was no fun. But then there wasn't a lot of water over there. I think they've got greens now over there, as far as I understand. But yeah, we used to have to play on the sand when you get to the so-called green. It was just sand mixed with pitch. Yeah, Miles, they're bankrupt now. When I was a kid, well, when I was a kid, we only had Toy World, and then when I grew up, Toys R Us showed up, and they bought out Toy World at the location they had in Townsville. And then, yeah, I saw the whole thing went bankrupt, and the building that they were in has only just now actually been repurposed as a, or bought and turned into a medical facility now. Hey, Gavin Brown. Uncle Pete's Toys. Didn't have them up here. No. Townsville until sort of like late 90s was still very much a big country town. We didn't really have a huge amount of stuff. I mean, we started to get things like Harvey Norman and such coming through by the late 90s or mid 90s. But yeah, for a long time, Townsville was a pretty backwater place. Quiet folks, relatively speaking. Alright, so we just put that home button back on. Now it should actually work. That screen has seen better lifetimes. There's not much point in me trying to wash the screen. I'm only going to make it worse. But if I can just get the worst off, might be okay. Townsville's small until the power... It's the power puff, not powder puff. Unbelievable. People getting our heritage all wrong. Managed the Toy World on the Nicklin Way in Minyama for 3 years. Started there doing radio control and bicycles. The Greek guy fired you after. Probably not a good time to tell you that my step family? Yeah, I guess stepfather. No. Yeah, I guess actually, step grandfather was Greek, so I've got Greek in my family, though I am not carrying any Greek. I just happens to be through marriage, remarriage. Jim Allen. Oh, right, okay. Well, why are you using autocorrect? Okay, even though this is for myself, I am going to actually clean up that mess there, which means I have to find my blade set. Oh, I see, Jason. Right, yes, I can understand how that can happen. I mean, I got deported from South Africa because of somewhat similar circumstances. Sort of. Uh, Blade's getting a bit beaten up here, but it'll do the trick. As long as it doesn't wobble like that. There we go. Satisfaction of seeing that junk just curl up and come off the metal like that. That's beautiful. We're alone packing Ninja Turtle action figures alone for a whole week. Yeah. Yeah, those things do happen. Oh well, story to tell. Guess we all got to have them in our lives. Being deported. Haven't been deported, but you've been thrown out of a few classrooms. Does that count? Pretty good. Yeah. Deported from school. I mean, I wasn't officially deported. I basically was visited by the South African police, detectives of some sort. Or Home Affairs. Oh, that's right, it was Home Affairs, yeah. And they just said, oh, your visa is not valid. And I was like, yeah, I know. I've been waiting months for you to give me an answer as to whether I'm allowed to stay or not. And that answer has not been forthcoming, so I continued on with my work. And they said, okay, well, you no longer have a visa, so you can't work. So if you'd kindly just come with us. And I was like, ah. So fortunately, they let me sit in the front seat of the paddy wagon rather than being thrown in the back jail cell seat. And then, yeah, I had to go down to the Home Affairs. And if anyone has been to the South African Home Affairs, they'll understand that it is a very long, protracted process to get anything done. But about 6 hours later, they finally let me back out after they'd fingerprinted me and done all sorts of things. And they basically just said, well, look, your visa is officially denied. So apparently they knew, didn't let me know. So if you need to finish up your affairs, we need you to leave the country and then come back in on a holiday visa, finish up your stuff and then leave. So at least, they were very accommodating in that respect. They could have easily just said, no, get stuff, take your house, take your car, take everything. You walk out of here, you get on the next plane, we're sending you to Australia, goodbye, ta-ta. But no, they were perfectly reasonable. It was just a pain that it actually came to that. And the visa, I found out a year and a half later, had been denied because someone who was vying for the attention of the same girl that I was lodged a report to say that I was being a public nuisance. And that's all it took. Noosa it might, but I do worry that wood chisel might not have the same flexibility of these blades. You really do need the flexibility. And also, that'd be a pretty brutal life for a poor wood chisel. I mean, I try to have a little more respect for such things. You had to go to Funabashi Motor Center to get your license transferred, and it took 8 hours. That's just obscene. That's kind of like in that animated movie Zoo. What was it? I can't remember. Zoology or whatever. And they've got the sloths working there. So I guess that pretty much sums that up. How hard is it to get a visa green card in Australia? I actually don't know. I've never had to apply for one myself, but I imagine it's not too bad, particularly now COVID is lifted. It depends on what kind of work you're thinking of doing. I mean, we are a country of immigrants for the most part. I mean, even the first movers in the country, walked over from somewhere. So, even if it was 40, 60,000 years ago. So, yeah, it's sort of like, welcome, we're the immigration country. There's always been hostility towards the immigrants, though, I must admit. For one reason or another. Some of it deserved, some of it not. I think if you sort of at least try to be respectful and grateful for the opportunity given being in Australia, the fact that when we say we're the lucky country, I think it's a fair statement. We are very isolated, or insulated rather, from a great deal of the atrocities that go on in the world. Yeah, Queensland's, how do you describe Queensland? We're a bunch of, yeah, it's, they can be lovely people. I mean, geez, I live here, but that doesn't mean I am one. But if you're looking for some Luddites, then Queensland's a good place to start looking. And I don't know how the hell they ever came up with Queensland as the smart state. That's a crack up. So Sunshine State was a much better option. At least it was real. So yes, we definitely are the Sunshine State. No two ways about it. Come to Queensland, get melanoma for the rest of your life. Damn it, I got dusty sparkles everywhere. Oh, Sodomizer? Terrible name. Just terrible name. Where do you people come up with these terrible things? It's like, I think I'm going to use this name for my online presence. But if someone said to me, what is the titleism sort of thing, or the name you prefer for your state, then yeah, I'd go Sunshine State is legit. Northern Territory, their call sign is CUNENT, even though that's not really what government likes. The government's like, how dare you make up that advertising campaign, and yet it has stuck very well. Insect state. Ah, that's another one. But maybe we should have North and South Queensland. No, branches, it's certainly not official, but sometimes the non-official one is a little more effective than the official. Whoever came up with that campaign, I hope they got paid well, because that was it was a well thought out one. Something you can put in public places and get away with it. Although I see there was a bit of a ban pushback on it. Textrania, you moved to Rocky in '94. That was a while ago now. Been through Rocky a few times. Paul's already seen mine as infused my mails. Oh yes, yes. Alright. Let's see. Let's see if the home button works. Yay, that works. Alright. Now, of course, the big problem for me is going to... I do have the unlock code for this anyway. No SIM card installed. Let's go to settings. Obviously, I'm not showing this because it does actually show people's details. Reset. Erase all contents and settings. Hopefully they don't have a lock on this, so as soon as I connect to the network it says BONG, you are locked. At least I know how to get in touch with the person. It's interesting, it's not letting me erase all content and settings. Curious. Wonder why that is. Well, Daniel, it's only 1,000 miles. It's not too bad. Oh dear God, this person's added like 1 billion games to... Oh no, better turn off the Wi-Fi. Yeah, turn that Wi-Fi off. General... Reset... Erase all... I don't get it. I don't know why it's not letting me. Yeah, I could do a DFU on it, I suppose. But still, you'd think reset all settings. Oh, there we go. I can reset all settings. Interesting. Oh, that's no good. That just resets the actual application settings and stuff. No, alright, well I might have to put it in DFU and reformat it. Go general, scroll down to device management. Alright, we'll do... I do not have device management. I suspect this is a very old version of... Okay, we got iOS 11.2. This is ancient. So yeah, I might put it in DFU mode. I'll get in contact this person again, because they gave it to me, but it wasn't functioning at the time, so I wasn't able to do any of what we're just doing. By the way, yes, I'm fully aware of the fact that I did not screw down the display. I didn't really care to. It's got those rubber edge bondings on it, so that tends to hold it steady enough for me. Oh, the left side. Oh, okay. Doesn't matter. We'll leave it be. Let's see, I've been replacing FPC connectors on a box of iPad 4s all day. Oh, I've been sitting on them for 4 years. Oh, wow. Hey, Greg. Oh, pardon me. By the way, I have redone the room. Oh, I did mention that. Let's see, I'll see if I can give you a bit of a short tour here. You can be a tourist. Let's say I'm just switch over to face view. Yep, okay, it looks the normal behind me. That doesn't look like it's changed, but yeah, I think, let's hope I don't mess up everything here because I'm moving the big camera. Alright. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff missing there. I've put the cooking oven down the bottom there. There are all my donor boards and stuff. And stuff that I haven't yet ascertained as to where I'm going to put it. Me blanking out the window so people can't see what I'm doing too much. A couple of iMacs that I've got to get rid of. Yeah, containers, old bits and pieces, jobs, 50-year-old teddy bear that needs to get disposed of, junk on the carpet because the carpet shouldn't be here. Yeah, and sort of looping fully around here. I'll put the ultrasonic cleaner right behind the camera, ear protection. Actually, I just realised I can go wide. No, can't go much wider than that. So I've got to start clearing out those job shelves there. And all this stuff. All that bench stuff. It just needs to be sorted out. Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah, they're my new Sennheiser headphones too. That's so that I can listen to zombies gnawing on my brains at the same time my wife is listening to the zombies gnawing on my brains. Not my wife also gnawing on my brains. We don't quite have that kind of relationship. Right. Yeah, the container thing, I think the trick with the container thing is finding a container that you like and then buying a heap of them. Don't just buy one or two. Once you've decided on a container, you just need to buy enough that'll do everything you need and not have to buy them again. Half the time because they stop making them after you want them. Let's see, branches. I get frustrated when I see other people's workshops with way more space than I have. This room isn't that big, considering that I do PCs, MacBooks, iPads, iPhones, and then other general things in here. And the number of computers that I'm putting through, it's actually very easy to fill up. So it only looks big now because it's being cleaned up. Believe me, give me a week, and what the heck happened there? Let's go to the above. I think I had a residual click on there. Yeah, Travis, that's pretty much true. It's about the biggest, most I've shown anyone. Can I tell you guys a secret that is an easy fix on many iMacs that give RAM beeps? What is the secret, Jason? Or have you already told? 80% of the time it's not the RAM. Unplug the 3.5mm audio jack from the bottom right of the logic board. Why is that? Okay, so the jack itself does something. That is very strange. Good to know. How long have I been married to Alita? We got married in 2001, so that makes it 21 years this year. Very soon. And let's see, I was 28 at the time, Alita was 19, and it's been very good. It's been a marriage. It's been normal marriage. I'm not going to lie, it's had some difficult times, but overall it's been good because we both understand that we want to, we want it to work. So, and you just got to work through anything that is difficult. Yeah, hopefully by saying that I'm not, cursing myself on something, but There can be dark days, but there's also a lot of very good days, and I think you got to, if you have a realistic outlook on what a relationship is, then you should be good. To Australia and repair C. Oh, okay. I found the perfect kit for app Bunnings and bought 40 cents. Yeah, exactly. That's it. You got to find the thing that does the job, and then just buy a heap of them. It's the only way. Branches. You do vintage Macs. Have you seen this? Oh yes, I know the Quadra 950s. Yeah, that is very big. The sound card is in the jack. It corrodes. Oh really? Okay, that's interesting. Hey Chaz, looking at getting a second-hand MacBook, what would you recommend based on your experience? It depends what you want to do with the Mac. A 2017 1466 is a very good Mac. I would certainly highly recommend that still, even though I think they still sold them up to 2020. So 1466 is a nice one. If you don't mind the slightly reduced resolution compared to, say, the Retina versions, which has the double resolution. Beyond that, I guess I'd try one of the Miles. You are being such a nasty person there. Don't get the A1534. Ignore Miles. He's been full of crap. The A1534 is the polar opposite of the 1466. The 1502 is good if you need that bit more power and that bit more screen resolution, and you don't mind a bit more weight. But if something goes wrong with that screen, it's going to be very expensive to repair. So that's about the only other problem. If you do get a 2020 or 2017 iMac, then you should be okay for a while. Yeah, the 1534 is a dustbin computer. I mean, even the A1425 has a better reputation than the 1534. Did you see my email to you regarding the Amtech Flux? I think I did, yes. And I also heard back from Tim Herman today saying that he might be doing a video with Amtech about the Flux, so hopefully that clears up some things. But yeah, certainly of the older generation, a 1502 is good. I prefer the 1466 in terms of stability and just ease of throwing it around. I do like the 1502. I've got quite a few myself, but I have found over the time, maybe because my eyes are fuzzy anyway, that the 1466 tends to be my go-to now. On the new ones, I would probably say I'd sooner get an M1 than any of the subsequent new ones. About the only new one I would consider looking at is a 1708. That's about the last one that had removable storage in it. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing here. I just need to check some stuff. I've got this bad habit where I get onto these streams, I fix something, and then I put it aside and I forget what I've done. And so I end up with all these boards in a strange state of repair. And so I need to go through and mark stuff up and say, okay, that's good, that's bad, whatever, and then bag it and put it away. I'm terrible for doing that, or rather not doing that, or rather I am good at not doing that. I'll let you decide. Okay, so I'm looking for my 2015 chassis. You're going to be the bottom one, aren't you? No, you're not. Oh. Alright, so like right now I can't even find my 2015 A1502 chassis. It's going to be in one of these. And if it's not, I'll be a little bit confused. It's not. What the hell is this? I got a freaking 14 60. What? Where did this come from? It's a 1466. 34. Okay, so it's got some damage there, but okay, we've got a bit of a crumple on there, so it's a low grade. It's probably something I can put back together and sell off to someone for a couple of hundred. Likewise, it looks like I've got a 11-inch. This is old. Oh, this has got a rusted hinge. Yeah, okay, yeah. That one I know why. So I'll just stick this back into the shed. Stick it back in there. They'll forget about that next week. It'll be surprise for next month. Okay. A2179. Nope. A1708. No. Oh, crikey. Another 1466. That one's in near immaculate condition. 1398 in near immaculate condition. The other problem is sometimes I only get one of a particular chassis, and even if it's in immaculate condition and I rarely deal with it, it's not something I want to sell because I need them for when jobs come in. Branches, where are you even? Can't do any international shipping. Okay, that fan was just stuck. So I can tell this is a 2015 because it's got this metal plate here on the side. The battery looks like one that I have taken out and put back in. Probably someone sent me something. Yeah, anyway. Not a big fan of the 2015 installation procedure. The keyboard flex is notoriously... See, it's... all it wants to do is slip back under there. It's not a team player. Okay. We'll put the 928 and the 165 elsewhere. See, Jason, just like me, I'll put them away, take them out and think I better fix that. 2 days later, it's packed away again. Yep, that's the way it goes. Oh, Branches, you're in Sydney. Oh, okay. Whereabouts in Sydney are you, Branches? Sorry, I apologise. I thought you were overseas. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I always get surprised when people are domestic, as in Australia. So what? Why would you be in Australia? Sydney is fine as long as you don't need to buy property. Now that is true, yeah. If you want to buy property, you pretty much have to move up to this sort of region and stay away from the coast, which is probably a good thing anyway. I mean, the number of properties that are having to be rezoned as uninhabitable in the near future due to erosion and all the other crap that's going on. It's not a smart buy to buy beachfront property anymore. Unless you want to turn it into an underwater theme park, in which case, yeah, it's a smart buy. Yes, airsoft is banned here in Australia, which I think is annoying as hell because I would actually enjoy playing some airsoft. We do have gel guns, but for as much as they try to pitch it, ultimately sort of, it's like, yeah, this isn't really kind of cutting it. It's like, I know you guys are trying and I appreciate that, but it's just not cutting it. I want my airsoft. I mean, you can get airsoft in Australia, but it's, obviously through grey areas. But if you get nabbed with it, then it's more trouble than it's worth. Oh, paintball is... No, paintball is very different. I suppose you like paintball because it legitimately marks the person, both in terms of paint and in terms of pain. Why do I get the feeling that's probably not quite the correct connector? Gel Blast saying legal in Queensland. As far as I understand, yes. They had to give us rec necks something to settle us down. Else we were going to go down to Canberra and attack them with a plank of wood with a nail in it. Gel Blaster basically is, it just has like, it looks like caviar. Oversized caviar. You soak them in water, a little satchel gives you like 1,000 of them. So yeah, basically it's just caviar. I don't know the exact dimensions, but it's kind of like a miniaturized paintball. Substantially less painful than paintball. Alright, so apparently nothing's wrong with this. That there is a busted screen, I'm aware of that. We used to have a paintballing place out here, but obviously with the law changes we didn't. Not internal paint, no, it's just a gel orb, yeah. It's basically sort of like gelatin, coloured gelatin blobs. If you get shot in the eye, you get to play pirate for the rest of your life. Well, that is true, Crocodile, yes. I guess it's a choice of risk management. I mean, you are advised to wear goggles at all times and do not take them off. Well, this seems fine. So that board is obviously a working board. I'm just going to check that the fan runs, so I'll put Valley onto it. Savvy, that is just brutal. The last game of paintball I played was actually in, I think it was in the Pretoria area in South Africa. It was a very long time ago. I very much enjoyed that. Stick an internal SSD in it. This screen doesn't have many days of life left in it, I think. Let's see, CPU cores behaving, all the stats are coming up good. Alright. The biggest problem with the 2015 is more just getting a screen that doesn't cost you an arm and a leg. Like this screen is broken, and even on eBay you'll still get $200 for that screen. The MacBooks have to run that hot because that's the maximum efficiency area. Anyone who drives a car with an internal combustion engine knows that you have to get it all up to temperature for maximum efficiency. And that's just what the Mac's doing. It's getting up there super fast and quick so that the CPU runs its best. And if anyone dare quotes me on that as if it's verbatim, as if it's definitive, then I will explicitly deny that. Oh, right, yeah, we don't want to... Doing... I don't know which one it's loading from. Okay, by the looks of it, it's going for the SSD because it's taking a little while. Text for stress. Videos help me change my keyboard. 1398, 2015. Cap lock LED is busted. Backlight is working fine. Is the replacement keyboard the issue? Cap lock's LED is busted. Quite possibly. I suppose the easiest thing you can do is, you probably don't have another one spare though. Okay, that's working fine on the SSD. Is it 38 for the efficiency of the Tesla batteries? Okay. I was wondering what they chose as their preferred temperature. Personally, I'm actually going to be very curious to see how quickly sodium-ion batteries take over certain areas of the market. I have a feeling once we get the sodium-ion batteries rolling out quickly, it should lead to a fairly good drop in electric car prices and home storage prices. Because sodium-ion effectively eliminates a large portion of the crybaby issues that people have with electrification, namely, what about the environment? Meanwhile, they go along, continue to drive their internal combustion cars everywhere, and then, and of course, the disposal thing. What about the disposal? And so, well, we do recycle them after we repurposed them for another 10 years. Unlike the use once and discard out the back of the exhaust pipe fossil fuels that we're using at the moment. Don't get me wrong, I have no problem with oil. In fact, I very much love oil. I just hate the fact that it gets burnt, because it's one of those resources that has amazing properties that are very difficult to replicate, even with our current technologies. So it'd be nice to be able to have a good stash of it to continue to use for things other than just burning. But yeah, sodium-ion batteries, there's no shortage of sodium. I mean, salt effectively is, yeah, that's where we get most of our sodium. And disposal, again, not really a big issue. Likewise, recycling. I mean, that's the only thing actually, though, that I might think with sodium-ion batteries is that it may lead to complacency towards recycling. People might just go, you know what? There's no profit in it because it's so cheap to make them. I guess we'll see how the chemistry works out. But certainly, while the density of sodium ion and the float voltage of sodium ion isn't as high as lithium, it's something that you can just work around by. Yeah, if you're dealing with the 80 cell system in series or whatever, you can just add another one or two to make up the difference. It's all manageable these days. I mean, we've got switch mode converters that can go up or down, very good efficiencies, so it's no longer the problem it used to be. So for short to medium range vehicles and for home storage, I expect we should see a fairly strong drop in price, I hope. We're up to 200 what is it, 200 watt kilo now for sodium, so it's pretty good. It's up to where lithium was a little while ago. And like I said, if you only need a 150, 200 kilometer range vehicle, it's viable. And also, for home storage, yeah, plug that big sucker on the back of the house, it's fine. Listen, I like the hilarity of the old Zebra batteries, molten salt battery. Uses 500 watt hour a day to keep itself hot. Oh, crikey, yeah. Textralian, what density are you thinking that sodium has at the moment? Because, like I said, it's up at around about 70 to 80% of lithium at the moment, as far as I understand. Well, last I checked anyway. I think the greater problem with sodium ion is just simply there's not many factories producing it. But I suspect that will change. Oh, you're referring to molten salt. Okay, no problem. Understood. Yeah, molten salt, that's a whole nother ball game. I think a lot of these things like flow batteries and all that sort of stuff, hybrids and all that, a lot of them I feel like will be relegated to what's it? Odd corners, things where the solid state, where lithium or sodium-ion batteries can't quite reach. But overall, at least 80% of what we do currently should be able to be covered within the sodium and lithium options. 250, 375 based on prototypes. The trouble is, Creature, I don't know if it will actually be a compelling sale, because one of the things I think that we'll find is, well, this is my theory, just my theory, is that with the simplification of the battery and engine process, having things like flow batteries, and likewise hybrids, kind of heads us back towards more complicated solutions, and I think we're sort of going to walk away from the more complicated options unless actually deemed as we need to take that route because it's not feasible to do it. Like I imagine with long-range haulers or trains and things like that, flow batteries are going to have their uses. But I think for general consumer vehicles and light-duty transport vehicles and things like that, short range, I can't see them going with anything but a battery motor sort of solution and no hybrids, no flow. I think we just want to walk away from the whole fluid management kind of thing. Okay, we've already got fluid management for cooling and for oil, lubrication and all that, but simpler tends to have a strong appeal. I need to write down this. This works fine. 2022040605. Almost 06. Hey, Cormac. It's been a while. Oh, hey, sweetie.
He was just sucking.
A little rat bag.
He is just sucking.
No.
He's sucking.
You can bring him in for a sec.
He's in a bit of a mood.
He's in a mood. Why are you in a mood? I put him on the ground easy for me. Raw. Give me it. Thanks, sweetie. Yeah, man. There you go. You gotta say hello to people, don't you? Yeah. There. There. Momo. You never look at the camera, do you? What's going on? He's like, I can't let you down on there, buddy, because there's probably lead paste or lead something there. What are you doing? Really? Alright. Yeah, he'll come back shortly. He doesn't have, he is desexed, so I can hold him that way. I don't recommend you holding them that way if they're not desexed. They still sometimes get uncomfortable. What they do prefer is to have one leg up on here and the other one free falling, but he just wouldn't get into that position. I'll call him Momo, but his name is actually Milo. It's like we have Mia, but we call her Mimi, and then we have they all get nicknames. Hey, what's he? Creature, that is a big cat. Milo is probably our smallest cat. We're actually trying to get him to put on some more weight. I mean, his is okay right now, but we do fret about this kind of like an Italian mother. Ach, nee, man. Oh, Norwegian forest cat. Yeah, okay. Hey, 555. Yeah, we worry about his weight like an Italian mother because he did have at one point a year or 2 years ago. He had to spend a couple of nights at the vet because he ate something and it really messed him up. Sorry. When you got wet hands, doing that to the gloves sometimes helps. There we go. Cats have preferences. One thing is having hind legs supported with when being held, gotta let them down. Yeah, you got to find out what that preference is. That's half the fun of having them, and then of course it can change too. Like Milo used to love being a shoulder cat, so you'd pick him up and he'd just flop over your shoulder and be happy wherever you went. And then he decided he didn't want to be a shoulder cat anymore, so yeah. Okay, so that one works. So that can go into my stack of use it for later. I just realised I don't know. Damn it. I didn't check to see what the spec... Oh wait, there you are. The specs here. Miles, you do get used to it. I prefer the feel of gloves compared to the feel of unknown viscous substances touching my hand. So it's a trade-off. And I prefer gloves over viscous substances of unknown origins. 278. Not to mention the implications of health. It's not just about feel, it's like, well, what is in that substance? And, is it absorbing into my bloodstream? All that sort of things. This is a 2015. Whereas these are earlier models. Yeah, I mean, when I first started to put them on, it was uncomfortable and you feel like you don't have the dexterity. But after a while, you do get used to it. And you learn to work within it. Okay. What have you got to say for yourself, Mr. Sometimes you just need a life-changing event to make you start wearing gloves. Like touching a viscous substance and finding out that, well, that was my teenage son's laptop. We'll leave it at that. Heard you don't do international shipping. 49.24. Mainly, the big problem is, well, cost of shipping out of Australia is genuinely absurd. I mean, it really is absurd. And then tracking is terrible. And the likelihood of loss is very high. And that leaves everybody unhappy. And even if you mutually agree, like, okay, that's no good, I lost the shipping, you lost the package, whatever, in terms of investments, no one's happy, truly happy thereafter. View on the new MacBooks. I have not had a chance to really try out any of the new ones, but in terms of design for what they're targeting as a market, particularly like the M1 Airs and things like that, I think it's probably a good balance. I think people were perhaps a little bit crazy thinking that they were massively defeating Intel in terms of general purpose computation per watt rates. Okay, that's a high-speed spinner there. I think the trick... Oh, we're running on that by the looks of it. I'll put that into a chassis. The trick with the M1 Max, of course, is that they come equipped with hardware decoders that solve the most common things that you want to do. Well, I shouldn't say solve, but yeah, they work with the most common things you want to do. And so therefore, for the most part, it's a very efficient, very fast computer. And that's great. Problem solved. Everybody's happy. Until, of course, you do run into something that it is not designed for, or it doesn't have direct support for, and you fall back to just the general CPU itself, and then you rediscover that it is in fact still a ARM type CPU. Yeah, media engines do all, the majority of the heavy lifting, and that's great. It's a smart design, and I think Apple was able to do that this time around because most of the standards have now matured to the point where we can actually depend on them. Things like H.264, 265, all that sort of stuff. It's pretty much set down. Whereas the early 2000s and that sort of time, it was a nightmare. You didn't know what was going to be the format of choice. And so if you go sticking expensive application-specific hardware into your notebook, chances are you're going to miss the mark and end up with a dud. So yeah, I think the timing was right for Apple to do that sort of a move, and it's worked out well. We've also moved a lot away from, well, I should say we moved a lot towards a lot of things being done on the internet now. So people essentially, with the M1, you've basically got a Chromebook with a much better, it's the advantage of the Chromebook, but with the advantages of a normal laptop too. Hey, B-Blood. But yeah, dedicated hardware for encoding or codecs in general, you can see the difference it makes, because like if you do encoding for say OBS just with the raw CPU, it's like 30% of the CPU to do this sort of thing. But then if you switch on the VP9, not VP9, oh god, what's it called on the Intel ones? The VAPI, or quick render or something like that. All of a sudden your CPU drops down to 5% or something like that. So it definitely makes a big difference having a dedicated set of encoders or codecs. What am I doing here? Oh yeah, I want to see if this is alive. Yes, it worked out very well, especially on that battery life. How we load Windows 11. Are people using Windows 11 much? What's the situation with Windows 11 and the forced necessity of an online account? Quick sync, thank you, Miles. Okay, Greg, so for the home edition of Windows 11, you still have the option of a local-only account. Okay, that's good to know. I don't know why they'd take it away from the others. I mean, I can understand from a management perspective, but it seems... I don't know why they go for these restricted... Oh, well, I do know why they go for these restricted moves, but I don't know why someone within the board or decision makers doesn't go, you know what? We're going a little bit farther, so how about we just not take that feature away? So you have to use an MS account to activate it in the oh, what? That's a pain in the ass. Yeah, I think I'll stick with 10 for the moment then. Okay, so we have a 1.64 gig i5. So this is a middle early sort of. It's a 2015 board, so that's good. I'll find something that we need to repair shortly. Not my fault they're all working. Because right now with Windows 10 I just keep the network disconnected. Well, that seems to do the trick nicely. Okay, the battery's completely crap, but that's okay. I know this battery's crap because I took it out of my 1466 that I was watching Netflix with. The battery is so bad that I would be halfway through watching something and the whole machine would just drop out. Because it would temporarily lie to the computer and say, hey, we're good, we can handle the load, man, give us the load. And it would drop the load so fast that the ISL wouldn't be able to keep up with drawing from the MagSafe in time. Okay, well we've got a low frames per second rate because the battery is cuck. That's okay. The board itself is fine. Found Intel AX210 Wi-Fi 6 3098. Will it work? I genuinely do not know. I've been absolutely no use to you whatsoever tonight. Tech for stress. I say tech for stress. You're actually meant to be saying tech fortress, aren't you? Yes. iCrafts. Stop translating. People aren't supposed to know that. That's for me personally, to curse without getting into trouble. Because this is an English channel. And people don't know that. Actually, most people do know that. .64. Hey, Jesus Yoka. At least the nice thing is this is a 165 board, so that's good. I'll just note that down. 2015. Fantastic. So that's 2 boards we've had no trouble with. How long can it go? We've got an Apple refurb board that's covered in flux. It smells like a challenge to me. It's another 165, 4 gig. If I find a bunch of 3437s with 8 gigs on them. Oh wait, no, I don't think I can. Yeah, maybe I can. I was going to say, I've got a bunch of donors that maybe a few of them are still 8 gig units. You're 4. Yep, you're another 4. You're a 165, but you're 4. And you have no SMC, so alright. 8 gig. Well, I've got an 8 gig 165 here, so that could be, and it's a faulty one, so we can upgrade something to 8 gigs if we wanted. Dead PCH on this one. So we could actually take those chips off if we wanted. Baggy them for the next time we need an 8 gig job. But yeah, this one's just a plain old 4 gig. This was at one point, interestingly enough, the majority of the 165s that I get with that annoying fake boot, that on off sort of stuff, are the 1.8 gigahertz units. Interesting. DeAndre 96, I actually did one the other week. It's got to get maximum air filter. We're just preheating the board. Jason, what laptop's that? I hate laptops that only get you 2 hours of continuous use. It's just like, particularly when they're advertised, we can get 6 or 7 hours, and you know that in real life use, you're going to get 2.5 if you're lucky. My first IBM type PC I was lucky, it had 640k of RAM, and it was also a 4.77/10 megahertz boost option. I only had a Hercules card in it for monochrome graphics, but it was okay. You could emulate CGA. And what else did I have? Oh, it was only in 8088, it wasn't 8086. But it was a good machine, yeah. It had a Seagate ST225, which is a 20 megabyte. Unfortunately, it was only MFM, it wasn't RLL. But you know, it got me started. It was a solid first PC. I don't know why I'm trying to lift it up, because you know when these have actually reached the point where they're hot enough, because they'll start squirming, which really should be soon. I don't bother trying to be nice here, I just flip them. And I'm safe from it being ingested into the fume extractor because we have the filter body right there in the way. They're not cracks, they're just a bit of junk and hair on it. I'm going to leave the extractor on for a little bit. Oh geez, Sonny's here. Hello Sonny. You have a Mac Mini 2018 without HDMI output. Is that fixable? Of course it's fixable. It may cost as much as a new Mac Mini, but it will be fixable. Besides, why don't you just use USB-C? What'd you do? Did you break the connection? It sounds like you probably broke it. You're probably jumping around, getting excited, thinking that the Mac Mini was some sort of, PlayStation controller, and then yanked on the cable too hard and ruined it. I'm sure that's what you did. Yeah, they can go into my little slot of RAM baggies. So when I'm out on the street, I can do some trades. People go, yo, Paul, you got any RAM there, buddy? And I'm like, yeah, man, I got 8 gigs here. You want some? Alright, let's find out what's going on with this. Other than the fact that it says TMD, which means too much damage, which means I chickened out at some point. Sonny is a construction worker, is he? It's news to me, Sonny. I thought you were more of an instruction worker, like a person who just instructs other people to do work. But you yourself avoid it at all costs. I thought that was your profession. Work avoidance strategy. Alright, let's see how we go. No, this looks like it's probably going to work just fine. If we get green blinkies on here, then I'll have to put it in the chassis and see what's going on. Yeah, we got green blinky. Okay. Alright. I am going through my stack of boards and I am having trouble finding a board that's going to stack it. Okay. I'm just going to put on some highly inappropriately placed thermal paste. And I'm not even going to do it properly. Just going to spin it around like that. That's how you get the very best, thinnest possible layer. And I challenge anyone to prove me wrong. Which is a good way of making people waste their time on the internet for things you don't actually care about. Any tips for a future electrical yeah, don't hold the active wire while standing with exposed feet on the ground. How's that sound? I actually don't know much about electrical engineering. Electronics engineering, I can help you. Well, actually, I really can't help you. I may be an electronics engineer, but I think if it's a hobby of yours, if it's something you really like doing, then it may not be an ideal choice for a career, because particularly if you're going to go through university, places like that will suck the absolute living joy of that hobby of yours right out, and it will turn it into a nightmare. The other important thing to do with life in general is not listen to people tell you things, and instead just do things your own way. Sometimes I wonder if my inability to hear properly actually helped me more than it hindered. Simply because I would just smile and wave as people told me things that might have been their very emphatic opinions about how I should do things in my life, and I just didn't hear them and went on my merry way. Been through electronics engineering, right? Yeah, it's fun for some of the pracs, but yeah, very quickly, uh, yeah, it very quickly takes your soul and runs with it. Fortunately for me, electronics is not actually a hobby. My hobbies was model aircraft, and I did do that as a business, and I wrecked it. Likewise, aquariums were my hobby, although to be honest, I sort of grew weary of them for various reasons. I think that was just more age sort of directing me away from that stuff. Okay, let's see if this sucker boots and actually gives us a display, or whether it's going to be a no display or something like that. Let's see, option. We got no backlight. And a film projector going wrong there. Why have we got no backlight? Hmm. Okay, we definitely have no backlight. Just gonna have to widen out to get a crotch shot. Dodgy connector. Install a candle in the back. That sounds brilliant, actually. Alright, clearly I've been bashing around. Oh, look, there's a bug in there. Oh. Welcome, and that one's actually a spidered bug. That's, yeah, very dead. Had the juice sucked out of that one. Alright, so it's not actually plugged in properly. That might help. But I don't know, I have a feeling this is... something feels wrong. Is our fuse kaput? See if we've got voltage. Geez, that fan is really in a bad way. Okay, we've got 8.5. Nothing on that. We do have, by the way, we do have data display. So I'm just going to disconnect. Just check some diode modes. Cap looks average, but it's... yeah. Alright, let's see what we got here. We've got an open circuit here, so it's like our feedback line. Oh, I know what's missing. Playing back in my memory right now, I can see that I have no backlight generator in this board. $5 says there's no backlight chip. But I bet you it's going to be more than just no backlight chip. I bet you I'll put a new backlight chip on there, it's still not going to run. That's my guess. Yeah, no backlight chip. Interesting. So there's been attacks on the feedback as well. Oh, we've got holes in the feedback pads. Alrighty. These here, they are connected to that. Even though when you look at the board view and the schematic, they show that they are for backlight output here, but they are electrically identical to the backlight feedback line. So So yeah, we don't have a connection there for there to there. We'll do some digging. I'm not sure why they've given us 2 pads for this. There was a little bit of copper there, but no, it wasn't viable copper. It was sort of like a corpse. Creature, I'd say that it probably had corrosion up there. I mean, corrosion's been here. Hello, corrosion, my old friend. Yeah. Let's just take away those pads and see what we've got. Elon's buying Twitter? That's a crack up. I guess he's getting bored, doesn't know what else to buy. Okay, because we've got a whopping great big hole. Maybe Elon's getting frustrated with the FAA. And he figures by buying Twitter he can make the FAA, I don't know, influence him. Probably not. He bought a 9% share in Twitter. Oh, well, okay, that's hardly buying it. I mean, okay, he gets a voice on it. Maybe a reasonable voice, but it's not exactly buying it. Trump would love to buy a fair bit of it. See ya, Creature. Thanks for dropping in. Always good to see you around. .9% majority shareholder? Thought you had to have your 50.1% to be a majority shareholder. Or do you mean he's the largest shareholder? That's what I was sort of meaning, is like Trump would love to buy a portion, but he just can't. He's probably going to have an even harder time since he's sort of, well, since some people feel like he's associated himself with Mr. Putin, which is a whole another dangerous topic right now. Personally, I'm not too savvy on the whole boardroom antics stuff. I mean, I enjoy watching shows about that kind of thing, but I think if I was ever in that situation, I would well and truly be a lamb for the slaughter. personally, I thought that American Psycho was probably a much better representation of things like that compared to, say, the Charlie Sheen, Michael Douglas Wall Street. Yeah, I think American Psycho was a bit closer to home. Because it's hip to be square. Interestingly, I enjoyed watching American Psycho the first time, but the second time I was like, nah. I think the original appeal of the movie was just the shock factor. Yeah, I'm not too sure, Yucca. I do have some copper, but there is a trace. It's very barely visible to me, but there's a trace, a fairly broad one, coming out this way. So I may actually do a slice and peel and give me better access to that trace. I lost my tip. Emotional damage. Yeah, DeAndre, you are quite correct. That would actually be the more sensible route, but I just hate doing traces that go across the board. Like, I mean, from front to back or similar. It's just such a pet peeve of mine. I loathe and detest being forced to have to do that. To me, it is an insult to my desires. Anyway, there we go, we've got some copper. So, everyone rushing out to get their 12900 KS. So 12900 KS, so what, that's unlocked and no GPU, is that correct? Well, I'm pretty happy with my i5 12, what have I got? 12600 or something, I forget. All I know is it's working now. Oh, I need continuity pull, not diode. Unlock and super bind. Oh, okay, 5.5 gigahertz. Oh, gee, that's pretty quick. Okay, so we do have trace there. That's good to know. Open on the diode. Wait. Now, the real trick is, do have trace the other side. We'll see if we've got continuity on both of these. Okay, so we do have continuity there and there. I'm kind of wondering why they've got this double arrangement though. Like, do they have a trace, a bar trace going between there and then up to here, or? Yeah, a bit confused. I guess what I can do, yeah, actually, because that doesn't really solve our problem right now. Well, we know we can use this if we have to. So I'm going to put the chip back on, a new chip, and then we know we don't have to use this pad here. We can just use that. I do have to fix this situation here. Guess it's hip to be square. Do you have continuity? Yeah, that's the tricky bit, trying to actually work out whether you've got continuity between there and the other side. And since I don't have the chip on it, I can't get a diode mode on it. It's open circuit at this point. Now I could cheat and short it to something. Like I could run a wire from one to the other, but it's going to be just as easy for me to put the chip down. Incidentally, I ordered myself one of the fine tips for the micro pencil. So it'll be interesting to see how that compares to the ones that I got the other day with that other soldering kit. Yes, it will, blood. I'll do the trick. Yandri, yes I am still using the Hakko. I've got no compelling reason at this point to change. You've got to realise that a big part of the investment in this industry, well, in any industry, blah blah blah, cannot speak. A big part of the investment in anything is the process of learning the tools. I mean, I know you know that, I'm just explaining why I haven't just jumped over to a new one. I mean, if you look at the amount of drama I had just with changing my hot air station from the Quick to the, what is this one, the ST862, yeah, that alone is a good demonstration of how much productivity you can lose just by changing tools. Essentially, if you're going to change tools, there has to be a very good reason to do so and a very strong improvement in productivity. Particularly if the existing tools are still available. Tony, yes. Yes, Micro's had his injection. The reason I had to replace the Quick is the element was starting to wear down. So yeah, it was essential to not let it get to the point where it no longer functioned for me. Yeah, just verifying that pin 1 was there. I think the trouble is that, you know, yes, JBC tools are very good, and I don't doubt that there would be some improvements, but will it be enough to justify the transition and the cost? Considering, yeah, I mean, I could understand if I was on one of the old style cartridge soldering iron things and things like that, but I'm not. Oh, it's okay, Tony, I did it before I started the stream. And the reason why I didn't get another quick is that I couldn't get stock of it quickly enough. I do have a replacement element coming one day. Okay, so that's done. Now we can do the diode mode and check this. Four three, 4 2, so we should have 4 3. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Now, ideally, we should have that same diode value here. And we 4 7. It's a little bit squirrely. Okay, so we've got 4 6, 4 7. It's slowly creeping up, I think, as the board is warming up. So by the time I test this again, it should be about 4 9, something like that. Yeah, okay, so we do have connection going through. Yeah, squirrely is when it just won't settle down. It just keeps jumping all over the place. Still don't understand why the peel back. For a start, this is not a customer board, so it's me just... Yeah, I just don't like to... I do not like running wires from one side to the other. Now, in this case, I probably... looks like I didn't even need to. It may have just been a bad driver in the first place. It all comes down to personal preference. Like if I did have to run the wire, then it would only be, you know, just the short jump rather than across the front back of the board, because I just find it's an added risk of fatigue and wear. I mean, yes, you can put a bit of tape there and then cover it. Yeah, it's up to you to decide which one you want to go with. I like to run the trace on the same side board if I can, and I'm willing to do a dig and a slight peel back if it allows me to do that. Like I said, yeah, other people, they prefer to do it across the edge of the board, and that's great. I'm not going to say they shouldn't do that. It's like I know a lot of people do that. It is pretty much normal. But if I have a chance to keep the wire closer, and I'll do it if I can. Put some Captain Tape. Yep, there we go. Jason's playing that game today. I'm gonna have to get used to that, Jason, because you're catching me out each time. But yeah, you could put Captain Tape along this edge here, and then you run your wire. I think the important thing is you know what your options are, and you choose which option you wish to go for. It's like when mitering skirting, yeah? Do you go for the undercut degree each side, or do you go and just tenon out, not tenon out, saw out the profile and make it a 90-degree angle match? Some people prefer the undercut, 45. Some people prefer to carve it out. Personally, I prefer the carve-out option because I always find the undercut 45 tends to have a bad habit of drifting out. You know, one of the skirting comes out a little more, and then your joint looks like crap. Whereas with the cutout profile, which for some reason I keep forgetting what it's genuinely called, if the skirting does move around, it still maintains a clean look. Okay, Jim. Well, I'm sure you'll stick around as long as you can. No pressure, of course. We don't do pressure in this town. Well, we still don't know if we're going to get backlight. It could be something completely irrelevant. Could be we're not even getting PWM signal, but we weren't able to really tell until we fired it up with the chip in place. Nope, we still don't have backlight, so it's not a problem. We do have display. Yeah, we've got the actual display there, but we don't actually have an output. Oh, there goes that fan again. Unfortunately, you're a bit restricted on what you can test on this side. Yeah, maybe the caps are... If the caps were a bit dud though, you would normally just get a weaker output. Well, it's interesting. It doesn't have to be easy. Personally, I would rather the difficult ones in these scenarios than when I'm dealing with customers. Maybe the MOSFET. The fuse is fine. We did check the fuse, but we'll double check it. The fuse was fine previously. I'm almost certain I checked it before. Now the fuse is dead. I'm almost certain that fuse was fine before. If someone winds back, they may be able to confirm or deny that. Okay, so we've got continuity with the actual coming out of here, going up into the backlight, all the way to the pins, so that's fine. But yeah, that fuse has seemingly dropped dead. But like I said, I'm almost certain I checked that prior. Kaput. I should change it from a P to a D. D for dead. But I'll check the output for short, but yeah, it's a little weird. Yeah, I did measure PB bus on the output, thank you, yes. Okay, so I didn't explicitly check continuity, but seeing PP bus on the output, though not a guarantee, because you can have a very high resistance, and if there's no load on the other side of that resistance, then you will still see the full voltage, because there'll be no voltage dropped across the resistor because you're not drawing any current. And you only get voltage drop if you're drawing current. I don't think the screen is shorted because we actually use this. This is my test screen. So I'm just going to test anyway, like ground. Okay, so that's good. Yeah, see no short on output. It's open. So it was definitely not that. I'll throw another fuse on there and see what happens. I know that's very naughty. Not recommended to just do that. But hey, this is my board. I'll do whatever I damn well want. So we just got to get a fuse. Maybe I underrated it or something. Let's see. Just going through my pack of bits and pieces. Find my, let's see, 8 amp 1206. No, that's we're not going to use that. That'll actually, if there is a short in the screen, that will cause a lot of damage before that blows. That will genuinely be the classic, the machine burns before the fuse blows. Pardon me. Nope, not you guys. Right. Something tells me at this point that I actually should be, in fact... What the hell? I should have more fuses than this. It's going to make me take a fuse from a donor board. That's so embarrassing. Well, I certainly do have fuses for the backlight, but I'm not sure where I'll put them right now. And it's... what have we got here? Nope. Comparators. Dual P and N channel. FDMFs. Solder paste. That's no good. And... yeah, no. That's no good. Oh yeah, there we go. Backlight fuse. 3 amp. Someone had in fact already sorted them out. GD Tech wants me to jump room right. Someone's living fast and wants to... okay, this is interesting. These are 3 amp rated. Oh, I wonder if the P rate is wrong. Because O is the next level up. Or is it next level down? Shit, I don't know. Oh well. You'd think it'd actually be the next level down, like 2 amp or something. Given that O comes before P. Unless they're like stupid wire gauges. Where the bigger the number, the smaller the gauge. And they realise they're screw up, so now they just do things like O gauge. Oh yeah, wrong kind of... I need the big tip for this. Use a pre-tested fuse. We'll test it to destruction. It's been a bit difficult for me to put on at the moment simply because of the fact that I'm too lazy to take this board out to hot air it. It's pure laziness, this. Pure laziness. Okay. Okay, so that's good. Yeah, so you can see I've got them all in the box. I just forgot that I had the box. Alright, let's try this again. Let's see what happens. If it blows, it blows. We're like, yar, she blows. Yeah, I love that fan going around like that. It makes it sound authentic. Okay, we have backlight now. It's dim, but we do have backlight. And we've got an old steam era fan going at it. Eventually that fan has got to grind its impeller away and it'll stop making that noise. Bam! There we go, nice full brightness. Alright, so it looks like I didn't have to gouge out that liquid damage on those test pads, but to be fair, it would not have been unusual for the corrosion to have broken that trace. So, okay, my bad. I did a little bit of damage to my own board that I didn't have to. Nothing a bit of UV cure can't fix. Nick, if you just bend one of your existing ones, you'll be right on the mark. Okay, so we've got another 1.64 gig unit. All very good. Let's see. FaceTime's not plugged in, so it's not going to matter. We don't even have Wi-Fi. The fan is behaving. It's only like at 1200 RPM, so that's good. Yep. Alright, so that's another one fixed. Just looks like it was had a bit of a rough life. Especially now that I've gouged out that veer. I'm just trying to work out what could have happened to make that. Yeah, I don't know. Because we had corrosion damage at the connector and we fixed that. And we had the corrosion damage at the driver and we fixed that. And I definitely had the voltage at the other side of the fuse. Or did I check both sides of the fuse? I'll have to go back and have a look. Maybe I only checked one side of the fuse and made a false assumption about it. In fact, I think I did. I think I checked the downside, the side close to the bottom here, on the assumption because it's closer to this circuitry, it was the appropriate side. But in actuality, it's the top side. I think that is what matters. That's the output side. Well, for a moment then, I actually sounded like Graham of Element IT. Kind of funny when you hear someone else's voice in the way you say things. Alright, well I think it's nearly 1 o'clock in the morning, so I think we're done for tonight. So we had a bunch of successes, thankfully. Mind you, they're all my own, so it doesn't really count, does it? We'll get this cleaned up and it can go for a swim in the ultrasonic with the others tomorrow. And then once it's done with the ultrasonic, then I'll go back and I will UV green all the areas. Look, while it's not the greatest of boards, it is still a decent board. 1.64 gigs, and it is a 165, so it's a little more modern than 3437s. Interesting that it's a field replacement unit too. Anyway, that'll be fine. A good backup board. Worst case scenario, sell it for, I don't know, $100 on eBay or something. Might just wash off some of that flux now. Even though I have the ultrasonic cleaner, I prefer to get rid of as much flux as I can. It just improves the longevity of the ultrasonic cleaner, the fluid in there. Because while it's not the most expensive to replace, it's probably like $60 to refill the tank. It's more of just the pain, because I've got to decant the tank and then I've got to mix up the new fluid, and it's more time just in maintenance. So we're just getting the up to temperature. Just vigorously brushing it off. Oh, one experiment I've been trying, and it seems to be producing reasonable results. By reasonable, I suppose it's subjective. Is if I have, say, one of those A1990 boards where one of the corners has got corroded and you've got to replace the little V-Reg chip, you want to get that flux off, but you don't want to have to ultrasonic the whole board. So I found what I'm going to do, pardon me, is I'm going to use my airbrush I'll just bring it in a bit closer. And the theory I have, we do it under the microscope. Send yourself a tax bill, get the tax back. If only it worked that way. If only. Okay, so this is a pretty typical sort of outcome for when people toothbrush their boards. It's like, yeah, okay, you kind of cleaned it, but it's not brilliant. So what I'm going to try to do, I'll put down some IPA and see if the... Now, it's not going to get rid of that main junk there, but the main thing I want to get rid of is, you see this sort of greasy look? Like, I'm trying to get rid of the greasy look. So, yeah, a bit of IPA. Yeah, it seems I've got to work on it a bit. It does a pretty good job of getting rid of the greasy look in some areas. So it's definitely displacing some of that flux. I mean, it's still not perfect. It certainly needs a lot more scrubbing. And I think maybe a hot board would work better. I could also just load up the paint gun with IPA instead of paint. That might work. Anyway, it's something for me to experiment with. Can you load IPA into the airbrush? Yeah, that's what I was thinking, is I'll load IPA into the airbrush and it might do a better job, because right now I think what's happening is, yeah, I'm trying to find where I put the airbrush accessories. Let's see if I can find that before I go to bed. It's around here somewhere, because I know I packed it, but I'm just not sure which container I packed, because I thought, well, you're not going to use that for a while, Paul, because you don't paint with that thing, you just use it for the air. And lo and behold, Paul, oh crikey, that's a heavy base. Oof. Okay, so what have we got? Power supply, nope. Camera bag, backlight repair kit, HDMI splitter, nope. Lots of tubes. Old quick hot air station. Random tools. Tiny little ultrasonic cleaner. Ultrasonic cleaner from when I used to do, well, I used to only ultrasonic iPhones. So it's a 1.5 litre jobby. Let's see, what have we got? Electronics box. No, not there either. Yeah, I'm kind of really stumped here, because I definitely had it last night, and I was saying to myself, where am I going to put this thing? You gotta love it when you do this. It's like, you know, Paul Daniels is a magician from the UK. He would make all sorts of things disappear with his tricks and deception. Me, I don't need tricks and deception. I've just got to look for something or want something, and bam, it's gone. That's some serious talent that I'm pulling there. I'm just going to check in the other workshop. I mean, I don't even have a clue where I would begin to think of putting it. Somewhere safe. What do I look like? Women Frodo and the ring? Yeah, that's the other thing, you know. If that situation happened to me, they would have never have found that ring. They would have started torturing someone and someone would have said, oh, Paul Daniels has it. And they'd be like, oh. Sauron would have been just like, oh, that's it. No choice. We just have to live without it. Come on. It's not funny. And the scary thing is it's probably staring me in the face somewhere right now. It's frustrating because, wow, everything just fell down. Yeah, it's frustrating because it's not like it's a tiny box that just disappears. It's of a fairly reasonable size, this thing. And it's a decent colour and yeah, I don't think I'll be buying another one. I think I would. Well, I can't imagine I will. I know it's around. That's the thing. I really, really know it's around. Because I was just looking at it last night and I was going to fiddle around with it a little bit. But then I thought, no, I've got to finish cleaning up the workshop, do things, get things sorted out first before I play. And this is the reward it gives me. This whole you'll never find me crap. Let's see. Yeah, funnily enough, timber was exactly what fell down. The box that has the airbrushing stuff in it, it looks like this. It's that sort of blue and transparent top, but it's quite a bit larger. It's also not too dissimilar to that. And again, that's not it though. Is it in the teddy bear container? No. Ow, broken kneecaps. It's a little hard to convey just how frustrating this is. Well, I think that's basically the universe's way of saying that I need to wrap it up. So I guess I'll do that. I'm going to wrap it up and we'll deal with this tomorrow. So, yeah, that king chrome and that's a Dremel box. It's, yeah. And the airbrush box is around about that size and that sort of physical format. What would be more hilarious is if I have inadvertently, like a moron, thrown it out when I didn't mean to. Maybe I threw it together and something else in a box and just sort of tossed that out in the rubbish. Oh well. Alright then, well, that's it for tonight. Sorry about that, folks. It's the way it goes sometimes. Appreciate you all being here. I'll catch you later. Until next time, you all take care.